What if the single most transformative thing you could do for your aging mind doesn't require a prescription, doesn't involve expensive brain training apps, and doesn't mean signing up for clinical trials? What if it's as simple as choosing the right foods in the 90 minutes before your head hits the pillow? I'm Dr. James Whitemore, and for over 2 decades, I've specialized in neurocognitive health and age related brain function. And tonight, I need to share something with you that could fundamentally change how you think about protecting your memory, your focus, and your mental sharpness as you move through your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Here's the uncomfortable truth that most people don't want to hear. The decline you've been told is normal, the forgetfulness, the mental fog, the slower processing speed, it's not actually inevitable. It's not written into your DNA as some unavoidable fate. What's happening is that your brain is being deprived of the precise tools it needs to maintain itself. And the hours right before sleep represent the most overlooked, most underestimated opportunity window in all of brain health, because that's when your brain is gearing up to do something absolutely critical. It's preparing to clean itself, repair itself, and rebuild the circuits that hold your memories, your personality, and your ability to think clearly. Tonight, we're going to walk through 3 specific, affordable, accessible fruits that science has shown can directly influence this overnight repair process. Not because they are trendy, not because someone's trying to sell you a supplement version, but because peer-reviewed research published in some of the most credible journals in neuroscience has documented their effects on the actual biology of brain aging. We're talking about cellular waste removal, the production of molecules that grow new brain connections, and the quality of the deep sleep phases where your mind literally washes itself clean of toxic debris. This isn't wellness theater. This is hard science that you can put into practice starting tonight. Now, why does this matter so urgently after 60? Let me paint the picture of what's shifting inside your brain at this stage of life. Your brain's production of a molecule called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, essentially the fertilizer that keeps neurons alive and helps them communicate, begins dropping off. Your glymphatic system, which is the brain's specialized drainage network that operates almost entirely while you sleep, starts losing efficiency. The bacterial ecosystem in your gut, which sends chemical signals directly to your brain, begins changing in ways that reduce neurochemical production. And the mitochondria, those microscopic energy factories in every brain cell, start breaking down faster than your body can clear them out. All of this is happening simultaneously. Here's what makes the pre-sleep window so strategically important. Your glymphatic system kicks into high gear during the deepest stages of sleep, flushing cerebrospinal fluid through the tiny spaces around your neurons and sweeping out amyloid proteins, tau tangles, and metabolic waste. If those substances accumulate, they are directly tied to Alzheimer's disease and accelerated cognitive breakdown. If you go to sleep after eating something that sabotages this process, sugar crashes, inflammatory foods, even alcohol, you undermine the entire night's housekeeping cycle. But if you go to sleep having consumed the exact raw materials your brain needs to supercharge the system, you amplify everything. So it's not just about what you eat, it's about what you eat and precisely when you eat it. Before we dive deeper, I want to connect with everyone watching. If you're new to this channel, welcome. We're building a community of people who refuse to accept decline as destiny, and I'd love for you to join us. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. And I'm genuinely curious, where are you watching from right now? Drop your city or country in the comments. We've got viewers from every corner of the globe, and seeing this community grow inspires me to keep bringing you evidence-based content that actually works. All right, let's get into it. The first fruit I need you to know about is pomegranate. And what this fruit does inside your body is so elegantly designed by nature that it almost seems too good to be true. Let me break it down. Inside every cell in your brain, there are thousands of mitochondria. Think of them as microscopic power stations, generating the energy your neurons need to fire, to remember, to think. As you age, some of these power stations malfunction. They start producing toxic byproducts instead of clean fuel. Your body has a built in system to identify and remove these damaged mitochondria. It's called mitophagy. When mitophagy works, the damaged units get dismantled and recycled. When it fails, they pile up, release inflammatory signals, and start poisoning the whole system. This is one of the core drivers of Alzheimer's and age related mental decline. Pomegranates contain specialized compounds called elagitannins. When you eat them, they travel to your colon where specific beneficial bacteria transform them into a metabolite called urolithin A. And urolithin A, according to cutting edge research, is one of the most powerful natural mitophagy activators ever identified. A major study from 2024 involving Alzheimer's disease models showed that urolithin A improved learning, reduced brain inflammation, and restored the cleanup processes responsible for clearing out broken mitochondria. The researchers found its effectiveness comparable to NAD boosting supplements, which cost hundreds of dollars a month. Think about that. A compound your own gut bacteria create from a fruit, performing at the level of elite longevity compounds. Here's the timing strategy. When you eat pomegranate 1 to 2 hours before bed, the bacterial conversion into urolithin A peaks during the early sleep hours, exactly when your glymphatic system is most active. You're synchronizing food intake with your brain's own repair schedule. Practically speaking, aim for half to one whole pomegranate's worth of seeds in the evening. If fresh isn't available, pure unsweetened pomegranate juice, about 4 to 6 ounces, works. Pair it with a handful of walnuts or a drizzle of olive oil, because these polyphenols absorb better with healthy fats present. The second fruit is blueberries. And while you've probably heard that blueberries are good for you, I want to go deeper into what's actually happening at the neural level. Blueberries are loaded with compounds called anthocyanins, particularly types named cyanidin and delphinidin. These belong to a category of plant nutrients called flavonoids, and here's what makes them special. They can cross the blood-brain barrier, that protective membrane filtering what enters your brain. Most compounds can't get through. Flavonoids can. And once inside, they get to work. Research published in 2021 in the journal Neurology tracked tens of thousands of people over many years and found that those consuming flavonoid-rich foods, especially the anthocyanins in berries, showed a 24% lower risk of cognitive decline. Even half a serving daily produced measurable protective effects. But here's the mechanism that matters most. Blueberry anthocyanins directly boost levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. This molecule promotes the birth of new neurons, strengthens the connections between existing ones, and protects brain cells from death. Multiple studies show that blueberry intake elevates BDNF specifically in the hippocampus, the brain region most critical for forming memories and most vulnerable in Alzheimer's disease. A 2023 clinical trial demonstrated that older adults with mild cognitive impairment who consume polyphenol-rich berry extracts showed significant improvements in memory and cognitive function, linked directly to increased BDNF and proteins involved in locking short-term memories into long-term storage. Another 6-month trial found that while blueberry consumption improved information processing speed in older adults already experiencing decline. What's happening is that these anthocyanins are improving blood flow to the brain, reducing oxidative stress, and supporting the mitochondria, all while your brain is consolidating the day's experiences into permanent memory. Here's why eating them before bed is strategic. Your brain consolidates memories during sleep, especially during REM and slow wave cycles in the early night hours. The increase in BDNF and cerebral blood flow from flavonoids peaks roughly 2 hours after eating them. When you consume blueberries about 90 minutes to 2 hours before sleep, you're timing the peak effect to coincide exactly with your brain's most intensive memory building phase. Aim for half a cup to a full cup of fresh or frozen blueberries. Frozen work just as well. sometimes better because they're picked and frozen at peak ripeness. Eat them plain, mix them into unsweetened Greek yogurt for added tryptophan and probiotics, or blend them with greens. Just avoid added sugars, which will spike insulin and sabotage sleep quality. The third fruit might surprise you because it doesn't get nearly the attention it deserves. It's kiwi. And what kiwi does for your brain starts with something fundamental. Without deep restorative sleep, your brain simply cannot repair itself. This isn't opinion, it's physiology. The glymphatic system, your brain's waste disposal network, operates almost exclusively during slow wave deep sleep. When you don't reach that stage or cycle through it too quickly, amyloid plaques and tau proteins accumulate at an accelerated pace. Sleep is the janitor shift. No janitor, no cleanup. Here's the problem most people over 60 face. Melatonin production drops sharply with age. By 70, your melatonin levels can be less than half what they were at 30. This explains the widespread struggle with falling asleep, staying asleep, and waking up refreshed. And when melatonin declines, you don't just sleep less. You enter slow wave sleep less efficiently. You spend less time in the phases where memory gets locked in and glymphatic clearance happens, and your brain's overnight restoration gets cut short. Kiwi fruit contains naturally occurring melatonin, roughly 24 micrograms per gram, plus measurable amounts of serotonin, which is melatonin's direct chemical precursor. It's also rich in tryptophan, phenylalanine, and glutamic acid, the amino acid building blocks for dopamine, serotonin, and GABA. This isn't just a piece of fruit, it's essentially a neurochemical delivery system wrapped in a green package. A 2023 study published in Frontiers in Nutrition showed that people who ate kiwi with their evening meal had significantly higher urinary levels of serotonin and melatonin metabolites compared to controls. Both fresh and freeze-dried kiwi groups showed improvements in mood, morning alertness, and reduced sleep disruption. The mechanism identified was kiwi's unique combination of serotonin precursors and an enzyme called actinidin, which enhances amino acid absorption in the gut, creating an earlier and more sustained neurochemical peak that the brain converts into melatonin and GABA, both critical for initiating and sustaining deep sleep. Another landmark study found that adults who ate 2 kiwis 1 hour before bedtime regularly experienced increased time in slow-wave deep sleep, the exact stage where glymphatic flushing peaks, where memory consolidation happens, and where cellular repair runs at maximum capacity. Follow the chain reaction. You eat kiwi before bed. Serotonin rises. Serotonin converts to melatonin. Melatonin signals your circadian system to initiate deep sleep. Deep sleep activates glymphatic clearance. The glymphatic system flushes out amyloid plaques and inflammatory debris. Simultaneously, your hippocampus consolidates memories. You wake sharper, clearer, with a brain that's been genuinely cleaned and reset overnight. This is the literal biology of what the right food at the right time can do. The protocol is simple. Eat 2 medium kiwis, skin on if tolerable for extra fiber and polyphenols, about 1 hour before bed. If the texture bothers you, blend the whole fruit into a small smoothie. Now let me show you how these 3 fruits work together as a coordinated system. The kiwi initiates the serotonin-melatonin cascade, deepening sleep architecture. The blueberries deliver anthocyanins that cross into your brain and elevate BDNF precisely as memory consolidation begins. The pomegranate feeds your gut bacteria the raw materials to produce urolithin A overnight, the compound stimulating mitophagy, clearing damaged mitochondria, and reducing neuroinflammation at the cellular level. 3 fruits, Three distinct but synergistic mechanisms, all synchronized with your body's natural overnight repair cycle. And here's why this becomes essential after 60. Before 60, your body has enough reserve capacity to partially compensate for suboptimal nutrition. After 60, those buffers thin out. BDNF is lower, glymphatic efficiency is reduced, gut diversity has declined, melatonin production has dropped. The margin for error narrows, and strategic, precisely timed nutritional intervention shifts from optional to essential. One question I hear often is fruit before bed safe for blood sugar? The answer depends on the type and how you eat it. The three we've discussed, blueberries, pomegranate, and kiwi, all have low to moderate glycemic loads in the portions recommended. Blueberries have a glycemic index around 53, kiwi around 50, pomegranate seeds roughly 18. These won't spike your insulin. But if you're diabetic or insulin resistant, pairing them with protein or healthy fat, Greek yogurt, walnuts, almond butter, will blunt any glucose response and keep insulin stable overnight, which is itself neuroprotective. Before I close, I want to ask something of you. If this video has given you something valuable, a new way to think about your brain, a tool you can use tonight, I'd love to hear from you. Where in the world are you watching from? Drop your city and country below. This community spans continents, and your engagement shapes every video we create. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and let's keep building this together. Let me bring it all home. Your brain is not passively aging. It is actively either repairing or declining every single night based on the chemical environment you create before sleep. And you have far more control over that environment than anyone has probably told you. After 60, your brain needs three things overnight: a clean environment achieved through optimal glymphatic function during deep sleep, a supply of neurotrophic growth factors like BDNF to maintain neural connections, and efficient mitophagy to clear damaged mitochondria and reduce inflammation. Tonight, we've covered three fruits that directly address each need. Blueberries deliver anthocyanins that cross into the brain, elevate BDNF, reduce inflammation, and improve memory consolidation. Pomegranate provides elagitannins that gut bacteria convert to urolithin A, one of the most potent natural mitophagy activators discovered, shown to reduce Alzheimer-related symptoms and restore function at the mitochondrial level. Kiwi provides serotonin precursors, natural melatonin, and amino acids your brain needs to initiate deep restorative sleep, the foundation without which none of the other repair processes can happen effectively. These aren't vague wellness claims. These are mechanisms grounded in studies from neurology, Alzheimer's and dementia, and frontiers in aging neuroscience. This is research from institutions like the University of Copenhagen and Duke University actively investigating these compounds for preventing and treating neurodegenerative disease. The science is clear. The window is real. The fruits are accessible. Here's your challenge. Pick one of these three fruits. Just one. Eat it 1 hour before bed consistently for 2 weeks. Track how your sleep changes. Track how your mental clarity feels in the morning. Track whether the fog you've accepted as normal starts lifting, because the evidence suggests it will. Your brain is not done repairing itself. It's waiting for the right signals. Tonight, you know what those signals are. If this added real value to your life, please hit the like button. It helps us reach the people who need this most. Subscribe to stay connected as we continue breaking down the most important science in brain health and longevity into strategies you can actually use. Your mind is one of your most precious gifts. Let's protect it together, one evidence-based choice at a time.